A whole bunch of omnibuses fell on my head, and I could only blame my shelf. Welcome to Lassoed Loot Volume 286. I'm so happy that you're here today. I have a bunch of collected editions that I've recently added into my collection, which I want to share in today's video, and I'm ready to get started right now. It seems that there's been a lot of collected editions that I've been buying recently but haven't been showing in my videos. So today I'm going to devote this entire Lassoed Loot Volume 286 video to the collected editions that I've recently added into my collection. And in this first segment, we're going to start out with the Marvel Masterworks. I'm a relatively newer buyer to the Marvel Masterworks, even though I know that the format's been around for quite some time. I got my first Marvel Masterwork, which I showed in Comic Book Editions Volume 233. Here we have The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. I believe this is a 2009 release, and it clocks in at 256 pages, covering Spider-Man's first appearance in Amazing Fantasy issue 15, plus the first 10 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, back when the character was so brand new that even they couldn't remember his secret identity, because there is a time in a panel where he's referred to as Peter Palmer. And I followed that up with Volume 2 of the Marvel Masterworks for Amazing Spider-Man. This, released in 2023, has 312 pages. It picks up right where the other Amazing Spider-Man Marvel Masterworks ends. So it has ASM issues 11 through 19, plus the first annual. Seems to be a better price point than if I tried to buy these books even as facsimiles individually, which is the economic reason why I picked those up. Ollie's, which is I'm a frequent shopper of, is where I picked these up at, and I noticed that they seem to have a pricing issue with the Marvel Masterworks. Sometimes you see them for $6.99. Other times the exact same book can be priced at $19.99. When they're $7, I buy them. When they're $20, I pass on them. So it's just a matter of scoping out the best deal that I can get for these. I do enjoy the format of the Marvel Masterworks. I received one of those as a Christmas gift this past Christmas. Ollie's, besides having these two Spider-Man omnibuses, also had another one that I was looking for. It is the Avengers Omnibus. I believe this was also released in 2023 as well, and it covers the first 10 issues of Avengers. Of course, I've read all of these with John's Comics with Friends. We do a monthly show called Avengers vs. JLA, and we take the same issue number from Avengers and Justice League of America, both back in the 1960s, and we read the stories and decide, who had the better book based on different criteria, like who had the better story, who had the better cover, who had the better artwork, who was the overall MVP, things like that. We just did an episode of this past Friday, which is archived in a JLA Avengers playlist folder here on my channel. So if you haven't had the chance to watch that, I hope you will check it out sometime and join us for a live chat. The next installment will be on my YouTube channel. Look for dates to be announced soon, but it will be Justice League of America issue 23 and Avengers issue 23, both from the Silver Age. And I hope that you can join John and I, because we have a bunch of fun when we do this show. We're going to check in with the omnibus section of today's video right now. We have two to share with you. There were supposed to be three. I'll explain later on where that missing omnibus went. But we began the omnibus section with Wonder Woman Omnibus for the Silver Age Volume 3, released earlier this year. This checks in at 760 pages. The last time you saw me show a Silver Age Wonder Woman Omnibus was the previous volume, Volume 2, which was in Comic Book Editions Volume 229. So the contents of this Volume 3 are Wonder Woman issues 150 through 177, plus Brave and the Bold issues 63 and 78. There was some concern if the Brave and the Bold appearances would be included or not, because during the original solicitation for this, the Brave and the Bold appearances were not mentioned. And it wasn't until the book came out that we finally got the confirmation that they were included. which they definitely needed to be included, and I felt like her Silver Age omnibus would have been slighted without those two appearances, so I'm happy that they included those. This wraps up Wonder Woman's Silver Age collections in the omnibus format. Now, I desperately want them to move on to the Bronze Age, which is my favorite era of Wonder Woman, so fingers crossed that they'll do that. They have one more book that they really need to do in an omnibus format to complete the Golden Age, and they haven't done any for the Bronze Age. So I'd like to see that Golden Age wrapped up, and I'd like to see the Bronze Age kicked off, and I'm hoping that DC Comics hears this wish list of mine. This book I had gone back and forth over, am I going to get this or am I not going to get this? This is X-Men The Hidden Years Omnibus. This was done by John Byrne. Originally released in 2024, it runs 640 pages. It has the entire collection of X-Men The Hidden Years, issues 1 through 22, plus it has Fantastic Four, issue 102 through 104, X-Men 94 from the 1991 run, and material from Amazing Adult Fantasy, issue 14. A while ago, probably 15 plus years ago, I borrowed this entire series from one of my friends who had it, and I read it and I thought it was just okay. But part of me had been wanting to get the books again, either as single editions or as an omnibus. I turned to eBay, who had an amazing price on this, because I think this is out of print now, probably from a seller that bought a whole bunch in like a liquidation closeout lot, is what I'm thinking happened. And as you can see, it's factory sealed. And the price was just too good to pass up on it. So X-Men The Hidden Years is a project that John Byrne worked on, because the original X-Men series, starting with issue 67 through 93, were all reprints. But the team was active at the time. They were appearing in other titles. So John Byrne tried to fill in, if there had been original issues between 67 and 93, what would have happened in those individual issue stories. And that's the basis for X-Men The Hidden Years. Like I said, I read it, some parts of it I really liked. Other foreshadowing parts, like the inclusion of Storm and some stuff foreshadowing Dark Phoenix, just didn't feel in place. But I guess I'll give it a reread and see if my feelings still seem the same. I ended up getting such a good deal on this from eBay that I'm not out much if my feelings haven't changed a whole lot. I am looking forward to John Byrne's X-Men Else When, which Volume 1 will be coming out next month, which was originally fan fiction, now becoming actual published canon for an alternate universe of X-Men where Jean Grey didn't die in issue 137. I am new to the DC Finest format of collected editions, but wanted to give it a shot with Super Friends, Fury of the Super Friends, when this was released this past November 2025. It clocks in at 512 pages. I like the paper that they're using and how bright the colors appear on the pages. Reminds me a lot of Marvel's Epic collection. It's the DC version of that. It includes Super Friends issue 1 through 26, plus limited collector's edition C41 and C46, material from both of those two issues. I have all of those in my collection already, but the true tipping point for me in wanting to put this into my collection was a Super Friends mini comic book that was included way back in the Bronze Age with Super Friends water goggles. It's called The Aquateers Meet the Super Friends. I had never owned or read that and loved that they decided to include that, because that kind of was a hard to find item. I know a Volume 2 has not been formally announced, but I have a lot of faith that it will get announced and wrap up the entire section of the entire last half of the Super Friends comic book. I hope that they will include some of the post-serial Super Friend mini comic books from the early 1980s. I think that would be an extra special treat. I had so much fun going back and revisiting these stories and seeing panels and artwork that I hadn't looked at in quite some time. But I didn't stop with just one DC's Finest. Once I decided that I liked the format, I continued on, and I got my girl. This is Wonder Woman, The Legend of Wonder Woman. Released in 2025, it clocks in at 632 pages. It has Wonder Woman issues 306 through 329. It also has DC Comics Presents issue 76, Blue Devil issue 10, and the 4-issue Legend of Wonder Woman miniseries, plus contributions from Mindy Newell, all collected in this. I like that they chose this era, which often gets very overlooked. This is Wonder Woman, towards the end of Wonder Woman pre-crisis. Jumping back to that Legend of Wonder Woman miniseries, if you didn't know, originally the plan for Wonder Woman when Crisis ended was she was going to be turned into a statue. And we see our only published proof of that in this Legend of Wonder Woman comic book, where we see a statue of Wonder Woman, her intended original fate in Crisis. And I asked George Perez when I met him, I said, well, how were you going to change Wonder Woman from a statue back into, a living hero again? He said there was absolutely no plan for that, and they were going to leave it up to the writers, whoever was going to take over Wonder Woman at that time, to figure out how they were going to do that. Of course, he wasn't attached to the project at this time. This brought back some great memories reading too, and I'm happy that they included this. I hope they'll do more of the Bronze Age of Wonder Woman. This one I just picked up. It's Doom Patrol, World's Strangest Heroes, Volume 1, released also in 2025. It has 624 pages. And we're collecting the Silver Age Doom Patrol at this time. We have My Greatest Adventures issues 80 through 85. And then with issue 86, that title became Doom Patrol. So it's Doom Patrol 86 through 102. Plus Brave and the Bold issue 65. And Challengers of the Unknown issue 48. Plus the Beast Boy story, his appearance in Teen Titans, the Silver Age, issue number 6. Personally, I don't think that this might be the best cover art to be able to sell the series. And I've enjoyed the Doom Patrol that I do have in my collection, so I thought I would give this one a whirl. I actually thought this was out of print, so I was happy that I was able to snag it, because it doesn't seem to be appearing in a lot of stores' inventory much anymore. What you can find, though, is the sequel volume for it. Doom Patrol, Death of the Doom Patrol, the Volume 2 that was released earlier this year. I love the cover art that they chose for this. So this collects the rest of the Doom Patrol, issues 103 through 121, plus the revised end of Bronze Age, well, towards the end of the 70s, I should say, showcase issues 94 through 96 featuring the new Doom Patrol, plus material from Superman Family 191 through 193. So I mentioned I don't have a lot of Doom Patrol in my collection, which is the truth. I have issue 87. I have a facsimile of issue 99, which is the first Beast Boy. I have issue 104 and 124. By the way, my 124 has an interesting story to it, because it appears that comic book went to court. You can get more details of that, which I shared in my Lassoed Loot Volume 275 video. Something else that I'm enjoying about these DC Finest are the spines. I like the artwork that they put on the spines. And I like on the back, on each of the different volumes, they highlight the years that are active in the trade that you're going to pick up. So good job, DC. I've been enjoying what you've been doing with these. And just released last month, at the end of last month, Joker, The Last Ha-Ha, 552 pages. Originally, I was going to get the Joker Bronze Age Omnibus when it came back in print earlier this year, and I ended up passing on it once I saw the actual book. It's printed on different paper than most of their omnibuses are. It's very lightweight, and I just wasn't impressed. I saw that this was coming out, and I thought, I'm intrigued. It's missing 9 issues of Joker stories that the Bronze Age Omnibus has that this collection doesn't, but most of the 9 issues that it's missing aren't the ones that I really wanted the collection for. Let me tell you what's in this collection. Batman issue 251, 260, 286, my favorite Batman storyline 291 through 294, plus Batman 321. It has Detective Comics 475 and 476, plus 504, Justice League of America issue 77. It has the Huntress stories from Wonder Woman issues 280, 281, 282, 283, plus Joker in the Brave and the Bold issues 111, 118, 129, 130, 141, and then it has the Joker, his own Bronze Age comic book series, 1 through 10. I love that they included 10. 10 was the lost issue, meaning that it was solicited and the title ended up getting canceled before the book ever got printed. And it wasn't until the first Joker printing of the Bronze Age Omnibus that that story had ever made it out into the public. They had actually found the original artwork, they had colored it up and included it, even though it's part 1 of a 3-part story that would never get included. So The fact that they included that in this trade made my day, and 100% was the reason I said I can go with this trade instead of having to have the omnibus. I love this, and I'm happy that I picked this one up. And in this final segment, I have 4 trades to share with you, including 1 hardcover. Earlier in the Omnibus segment, I was talking about what a great deal that I got on the X-Men Hidden Years when I purchased that off of eBay, and it became an even better deal because as a free bonus just for buying, they included this softcover, X-Verse, X-Villains. This was published in 2023, checking in at 136 pages. Just a focused book on different X-Men character villains throughout the years. It starts with X-Men 150, which I do have in my collection, but honestly, at some point, I probably need to upgrade my copy of 150. Also included are Wolverine First Class Issue 2, X-Factor Issue 24, Adventures of the X-Men Issue 3, and Adventures of Spider-Man Issue 3. So this will be a fun little quick dive into and enjoys some X-Villains. Speaking of X-Factor, I will be a guest on John's Comics with Friends channel on June 2nd talking about the creation of X-Factor and the return of Jean Grey in the Omni X-Men episode that evening. It will be 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Make plans to join if you can. This book is a lot of fun. It is Kanga-U, Tests and Tournaments from 2025, 76 pages. This is meant, I know, for ages 8 through 12, which is my emotional ages. But I decided to pick it up for the funsies of it. Kangas are on Paradise Island. Each Amazon has a Kanga, and the Kangas think about how great it would be if they could end up being Diana's Kanga, the princess's Kanga. So they have a tournament, but Ares' arrival on the island forces all of the Kangas to unite to protect their home. So it's just a fun, younger reader story that I'll breeze through pretty fast. And it was one of those cases I was ordering from in-stock trades, and I needed like $6, $7 more, and I would qualify for free shipping. So to me, this was a better option than paying for shipping and having one less book. So it definitely falls in the right area for branding with what I like in my collection. So that's why and how it ended up in the channel. Pretty much the same situation with a different order that I made, and I ended up picking up Wonder Woman, Her Greatest Victories, released in 2020. This was around the time that they were promoting the Wonder Woman 1984 movie. Of course, we have a Gal Gadot Wonder Woman 1984 cover. This includes 184 pages, and we have different stories of Wonder Woman's career throughout. Wonder Woman 329, which is the final issue from Volume 1, which was collected in the Legend of Wonder Woman DC Finest that I showed you earlier in the video. Also Wonder Woman Volume 2, Issue 9. We have Justice League Issue 13 and 14. We have Wonder Woman Issues 10 and 24 from another volume. And then the Steve Trevor one-shot. Of course, I ended up getting a signed copy of that at C2E2 this year, of the individual floppy of that story from Tim Seeley. I have this trade already, but with a Walmart exclusive cover. This was the regular A cover that was available to everyone. And, you know, the completist in me said, Lasso, you got to add that into your collection. So I did. And finally, a hardcover to wrap up this Lassoed Loot 286 video today. This is Bizzarro Comics, the deluxe edition, published in 2021, 440 pages. So I found this at an Ollie's, and this was a total impulse collection. It puts together 2 different collections, Bizzarro Comics and Bizzarro World. It has 30 different short stories in it. So you got all the regulars, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and more. It's a fun cover. I liked the back cover of it a lot too, which, like I said, complete impulse decision to do, but happy that I added it into the collection. While I'm talking DC Comics, I don't want to forget to mention that I have a DC Comics back issue of the week currently on my channel that dropped yesterday morning that's on Jonah Hex. So if you haven't had the chance to watch that, you need to. Heck yeah, you need to watch my back issue of the week. So thank you for your support on the back issue of the week. And of course, speaking of DC Comics, don't forget about the greatest DC Comics show on YouTube, Fanboys Live, and the Retro Review Sunday nights on my channel, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central. Mr. Gretzky 9966 will be our special guest this upcoming weekend. So there you go, with a whole bunch of trade editions, collected editions that I've recently put into my collection. This catches you up. Isn't Bizzarro fun? Fun. What did you think? Leave me a comment below. Your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. I love reading those. Do you have any of these in your collection? Are you looking to put any of them in your collection? Marvel Masterworks, Omnibus's DC Finest. We can talk about all of those different types of collected editions in the comments below too. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I hope you'll take this opportunity to do so. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back to want to spend time with me. I certainly do appreciate it. Altogether, if you add all of the pages in from all of the different collected editions that I shared in this video, 5,980 pages. That's a lot of reading I need to get to. So I need to wrap up this Lassoed Loot 286 video where great trade collections get caught. Thanks for joining me, and bye for now.